Welcome to Agenda Edina, a program summarizing the actions taken at City Hall that affect you most. I'm your host, Dorothea Marty. The city is working to acquire a property on 76th Street for a new Fire Station 2. The fire department currently operates Fire Station 2 on York Avenue next to the Southdale YMCA. Staffed with 2 firefighter paramedics, Fire Station 2 is not large enough to provide the future level of services needed in the southeast quadrant. The land is also too small to build the size of station needed to best serve the community. Last year, the City Council directed staff to search for potential sites for a new Fire Station 2. A site large enough for a new station is difficult to find and very expensive. After much research and consideration of multiple locations, staff presented 3 possible sites to the City Council in February. Those were narrowed to the east parking lot of Roslyn Park and 4401 West 76th Street in the Pentagon Park neighborhood.
So when we evaluate fire station sites, we evaluate and try to have a healthy balance of all the critical factors that we review. When we look at the 76th Street site, it's large, it's 8 acres. When we look at Roslyn Park, it's in a great location to serve the entire community. There will be more neighborhood impact with that site, so as we evaluate all those factors, that's how we determine the final recommendation for City Council.
City staff collected community feedback in late March and early April. After a review of all of the feedback and critical factors, staff recommended the site on West 76th Street. 76th Street site performs well. It's a current call volume, which includes travel time through high-rise buildings, other large buildings that are in the southeast quadrant, future development in the Park Lawn area. We know that there's increased development coming on that part of town, and then is positioned well with a 3-station recommendation to serve the entire community. The council is expected to act on a purchase agreement in the next few months. Then an architect would be hired to begin design work. It is anticipated that the fire station would open sometime in 2025. The Edina Police Department is adding a new device to its tool bag to find vehicles involved in crimes, and this one is like a scene out of Batman. Earlier this month, the City Council approved the purchase of 4 vehicle-mounted GPS tracking units and software to assist with locating stolen vehicles. The units will be mounted on the front of patrol vehicles and would be deployed by an officer in pursuit of a stolen vehicle or one involved in criminal activity. Once the unit is deployed and attached to the vehicle, officers can track at a safe distance, reducing the need for dangerous pursuits.
We're excited to have this product. We think this is going to be leveraging some technology to help us combat the people that are fleeing and be able to do it from a safe manner without us having to pursue them at a high rate of speed. And we really think it's going to keep the general public safe, our officers safe, and the suspects safe.
The units cost just over $34,000 and will be paid for out of the city's DWI forfeiture fund. This year's Arbor Day celebration at Roslyn Park kicked off an enormous effort to plant 1,000 new trees in the city by the end of next year. On May 6, volunteers and city employees dug into the dirt to help the Next Gen Trees project take root. Edina TV shows us how they were able to plant 200 saplings in only a few hours.
We're here today planting 200 new trees at Roslyn Park with funding from the American Rescue Plan Act.
City Forester Luther Overholt is thinking big these days.
When the city was awarded these funds, some of the comments from residents was trees, and so that's kind of what got me here.
Can we cheer for trees? Woo!
And he's leading an initiative unlike anything ever seen in Edina.
Really excited about it, planting 1,000 new trees in Edina. And so this is kind of the big kickoff. It's the most ambitious planting ever done in Edina, it's safe to say. What we're doing today is what I normally do in a year.
Through a partnership with a local nonprofit organization called Tree Trust, along with over 100 eager volunteers,
Friday, yes, amazing.
Overholt was able to realize his vision of altering the urban landscape in Edina.
Been focusing on shading paved surfaces and stuff to try and help, with the urban heat island effect. It gets way hotter in, the southeast quadrant of the city here than it does anywhere else in the city because we don't have shade.
These saplings will eventually replace ash trees lost to the invasive emerald ash borer.
We're trying to provide buddy trees for the ash trees that will eventually have to come down around the playground. Long-term thinking, but we're thinking about the future. So hopefully we can have a tree that's nice and established so the loss of that tree won't be as devastating.
So how was it possible to get this many trees in the ground in one day?
Tree Trust, they've been integral working with them. I know that all the trees are going to be planted the right way. When we start, we kind of break up into groups. We all plant a tree together. The first tree we all do together.
You want to make a cut that shapes the soil ball into like a box.
We learned about cutting the roots so you don't get stem girdling the roots 10 years down the road, checking the tree both sides, making sure it's straight, planting it at the proper depth to make sure you're not planting it too deep or too high.
And I watched the 5-minute video, and after watching hours of tree videos, I can say they compacted down in 5 minutes what any homeowner can look at and successfully plant a tree. So I was very, very impressed with the quality of that.
Now that the first batch of trees are planted, there is quite a bit of excitement about the future of this tree planting initiative in Edina.
Trees are important here in the city, and I think with our climate action plan being approved by council last year, this is kind of my big first step into starting to meet, some of those goals.
Anytime you have an opportunity to introduce some new idea and make people think about what they're doing on their own and all these beautiful trees in the park now, they'll appreciate them.
Roslyn Park, changed for decades to come after only a few hours of work, is just one of many parks that will see new trees take root before the end of next year.
I had a couple of people come up to me today already and they were like, yeah, I just saw this was happening and I could only plant one tree today, but I'm gonna come back to your next event with my kids, and that's really exciting.
From Roslyn Park, I'm Scott Denfeld, Edina TV.
In an effort to increase the city's tree canopy coverage by nearly 40% in the next 8 years, residents are encouraged to plant and preserve trees on private property. If you or your organization is interested in volunteering to plant more trees in parks and public places this month, contact City Forester Luther Overholt at 952-826-0308 or loverholt at edinamn.gov. Thank you for watching this episode of Agenda Edina. I'm your host, Dorothea Marty.